Hello, and welcome to Dolphin Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by LogicDolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. And with that, we go to new game, 2 boards, any complexity, random adversary. Let's do 1 adversary today. The scenario is Dahan Insurrection, because we're doing the scenarios in order. And the adversary is Habsburg. Okay. But first, let's look at the scenario. Okay, so Dahan Insurrection. Citing strategic importance, the invaders' government refuses to back down in the face of nebulous fears and rumors of the supernatural. They send waves of personnel to support the colony in response to Dahan belligerence. This scenario is notably easier for spirits with versatile Dahan movements, such as Thunder Speaker, or for spirits good at moving or destroying buildings, such as River Surges and Sunlight. This scenario is notably harder when playing versus adversaries that build lots of buildings, such as the Kingdom of England. So what is Dahan Insurrection all about? Difficulty 4, oh no. Rules changes. Constant reading. After an action moves 1 or more Dahan, each Dahan that moved does 1 damage in their land. Damage happens after fully resolving the power or other effect which moved them. If a power moves a Dahan multiple times, it only does damage in the land where it ends up. So, Dahan deal damage. That makes the game easier, right? Well, military response. After an action destroys 1 or more buildings, an explorer per town destroyed and a town per city destroyed, these new invaders are added to the land with Dahan closest to the destroyed building. Add the new invaders after fully resolving the power or effect which destroyed the old one. If an action triggers both constant rating and military response, resolve constant rating first. Okay. So, destroying buildings is just a downgrade. It downgrades the city to a town, downgrades the town to an explorer. Still good fear, but they also move to lands with Dahan, which could be good, could be bad. Have to plan around that. Coordinated Insurrection. If you reach terror level victory, Dahan immediately damage invaders in every land on the board as if they were fighting back after a ravage. If this doesn't fulfill the victory condition on this card, you lose. Uh-oh. Well, what are the victory conditions on this card? The normal fear-based victory is not available. Instead, terror level 2, there are no lands where buildings outnumber Dahan. Terror level 3+, there is fewer than 1 land per player where buildings outnumber Dahan. So you can't win at terror level 1. And the additional loss condition is that there are fewer than 2 Dahan per player left alive, which makes it, impossible for there to be a land with no Dahan, or no Dahan on any land, rather. I was just thinking, sorry, I'm 5 steps ahead of where my voice is. Military response adds buildings to the land with Dahan closest to the destroyed building, but what if there is no such land? Well, that's not possible, because, well, there's an additional loss condition preventing that. I wonder if that plays into Isolate, though, but I don't know. I'm sure there's an FAQ about that. We'll find out. All right, so Dahan are belligerent, buildings are belligerent, or resilient, I guess, and we have to win based on Dahan counts. We are playing Habsburg. So what does Habsburg give us? Irreparable damage is our additional loss condition. Track how many blight come off the blight card during ravages that do 8+ damage to the land. If that number ever exceeds players, the invaders win. So 8+ damages are bad. They also escalate by seeking prime territory. After exploring on each board with 4 or fewer blight, add a town to a land without towns or blight. On each board with 2 or fewer blight, do so again. So you kind of want to have some blight on the boards to prevent a double escalation, and maybe even a lot of blight to further avoid the escalation, but, just blight things. All right, Migratory Herders. After the normal build step, in each land matching a build card, gather 1 town from a land not matching a build card in board land order. So, towns are everywhere. More rural than urban. During setup, on each board, add a town to land number 2 and a town to the highest numbered land without setup symbols. During play, when invaders would build a city in an inland land, they instead build 2 towns. So, fewer cities, but that makes it easier for them to gather towns from lands not matching a build card. Fast spread. When making the invader deck, remove one additional stage 1 card. New deck order 1-1, 2-2-2-2, 3-3-3-3-3. So, fewer turns. Fewer card distribution, 4 at Terror level 1, 5 at Terror level 2, 3 at Terror level 3. And yeah, again, per the scenario, our additional, our fear-based victory is not possible. We have to win based on buildings not outnumbering Dahan. Yes, that worked. All right, so to assist us with this, what do we have? Well, we have Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares, which is probably not the best spirit to have since we have to eliminate buildings, but I mean, it can still work. I guess pushing Dahan deals damage not from Bringer. So, set up, put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered sands. Special rules to Dream 1,000 Deaths. Your powers never cause damage, nor can they destroy anything other than your own presence. When your powers would destroy or deal enough damage to destroy explorers' towns or cities, generate 0, 2, or 5 fear instead. The power pushes all explorers and towns it would destroy. Note, a single power cannot destroy a given invader more than once. Powers which cause damage via Dahan are affected just like all others. All effects other than damage and destroy work as usual. And bear in mind that the scenario actions are independent of Bringer's actions. So if Bringer pushes Dahan, constant rating triggers, but that does not trigger as a Bringer rule. It just triggers as a scenario rule. I would think, but I could be wrong. I could stand to be corrected. Let's see. So, yeah. Innate power spirits may yet dream. At 2 moon to air, turn any face down fear card face up. It's earned resolve normally, but the players can see what's coming. And at 3 moon, target spirit gains an element they have at least one of. We also have night terrors. 1 moon, 1 air is 1 fear. 2 moon, 1 air, 1 animal is +1 fear. 3 moon, 2 air, 1 animal is +1 fear. And then these powers, which includes gathering Dahan, pushing Dahan, blah, blah, blah. Cool. You also have Eyes Watch from the Trees. Setup. Put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered jungle. Special rules. Dahan trusts the Watchers. After one of your powers adds Defend to a single land, gather up to 1 Dahan into that land. Ooh, I like that. We also have Mischief and Sabotage. 1 moon, 2 plant, 1 fear and defend 2. 2 moon, 3 plant, instead 1 fear and defend 4. 2 moon, 2 air, 4 plant, instead 3 fear and defend 6. And at 3 moon, 3 air, 5 plant, instead 5 fear and defend 12. And gather Dahan, defend, yay. Could be good, could be bad, I don't know. It's difficulty 10, so who knows what will happen? We shall see. They explore in a stance. Okay, so build, and bear in mind that build prevention is harder than normal because they will gather towns into lands matching a build card. Should we try to do like the major power turn 1 type thing? Gathering 2 Dahan does deal 2 damage, which is nice. And that would prevent the inland city, except actually they build 2 towns instead. Otherwise, you could try to put 4 Dahan in B3. It would kill the Explorer. I don't know. What do you want to do with Eyes Watch? I don't know what the meta is. As much as we can trigger this just to gather a Dahan to deal 1 damage would be nice. Also, this deals the damage, which could combo with that and kill a town, for instance. Obviously, you don't need to defend this turn per se, but 2 card plays is probably what we want to do here. The air's not going to do much for us right away. There's also a possible power card. We could try to play 2 cards next turn, or 3 cards next turn. Do we do this to get a new power card to plan around that this turn, or do we do it next turn? Because I could do 2 presences, get 2 in an air, and then next turn place a single presence for 3 card plays. Or I could get it this turn, still get to 2 card plays. The air doesn't do much for me this turn. It just means I won't have another Sacred Sight. Sacred Sight is only relevant for the innate power right now. Also kind of like to be in as many jungles as possible because of Whisper Guidance through the night. Gathering 3 Dahan is powerful when each gathered Dahan deals 1 damage. That's 3 damage. Could be pretty good for C2, honestly. I mean, bearing in mind that destroying a city turns it into a town. So they would still have like 5 damage going on in there. But we could try to have that land defended next turn, which would be kind of cool. So if I plan on playing Whisper Guidance to get 3 Dahan in C2, then I would want to do this growth option. I mean, I guess either gets me into C1, but I can kind of see a reason to want to do Whispered Guidance. We could also do Eerie Noises and Moving Trees to push to explore towns, which could get 2 towns out of C6 and solve that ravage. I would be playing a lot of my moon cards, so it'd be a bit harder to hit the defend 4 next turn, but I might not need it next turn if I'm doing all that. I mean, C2 with defend 4 would be nice. We do also have a means of defending 8 in that land if needed. So let's take a look and see what this power is. They all cost 1 energy, so that kind of means energy is not going to work in our favor for next turn. We would like to have moon plant. Only 1 has plant. Could take Rights of the Land's Rejection because that pushes 3 Dahan, which is 3 damage. It's also fast, so we could even try to line that up with Bringer. To try to get 1 million Dahan in 1 land for Bringer. Climate Night Streams is what? Range 0? So we could try to do it 1 million things in C2. We can get 2 Dahan in with Rights, 2 Dahan in with Dreams of the Dahan. And now there would be 4 Dahan in that land, dealing 4 damage. I can kind of see that being cool. So if I do this and this, I don't get this gather, but we still have a gather 3 Dahan. I guess we don't need it for C2 now. Could still do it for C6. Although it's only going to be 1 Dahan that moves in, really. Although we could use it in response to the Explorer instead. Alright, so let's set this up. Let's go up energy track. These 2. And then we're going to get a major. But first, push. I would like to kill the city, right? Or do I want to minimize the number of pieces? Well, if I kill the town, it turns into an explorer. And I could kill the 2 explorers, and then there's just a city left. which I can kill next turn's Ravage. And that way I don't need to actually hit defend 4. Killing the city now would be kind of cool, but I think this works fine now. Then gather. Okay. So before we lose this power, which means we lose a moon, let's get the fear. Let's look at the top part of the fear deck. On each board, remove an explorer from a land matching a Ravage card. And then gain a major. So the rule is, if you forget this power, gain energy equal to Dahan, and you may play the major power immediately paying its cost. So none of these have moon. That's annoying. Infinite Vitality prevents Blight from being added, which means that we don't care about Ravages as much. Blood Rack Plague for Plague Stack, and we could reclaim that every turn and be silly. Trees and Stones, which we could just put right into C2, which would kill the city. Of course, it just replaces it with a town, but that would be 3 fear. But it would be a pretty reliable card to keep reclaiming 1 on. We do have a reclaim 1 growth track, so having a card that we could play repeatedly is generally pretty good. I think it's Erupt. Potentially adds a lot of wilds, but... Oh, also we don't actually destroy the city with trees and stones. It's just 5 fear. We could take it and save it for next turn and defend C2 while also generating 5 fear off of that card. Which is funny. So we don't actually need to forget Calling Midnight Streams. Predatory Nightmares is usually the card that I would forget as it's boring. We could save this and gain another major later. So yeah, let's do that. Let's forget Predatory Nightmares. I don't need to play the defend card this turn. Gather. And let's gather that wetland one. Oh, they went wetlands. Okay. I tried. Alright, range 1 jungle. Alright, bear in mind these are Ravages now. This one is almost surely good. Others, not as much. I will try to probably defend C6. So let's gather that Dahan and kill the Explorer. Our defend is only, what, 3? 2? 2. So we would have to be a little careful. We're playing Trees and Stones in C2, but what about B5? Because there's 9 damage in there. 9 damage. That's a lot of damage, and that's a Habsburg Blade. So we need to do something there. Most likely that's defended. That's a question mark. So obviously we could do defend A and B5. And that would be enough defend for B5. Also gathers a Dahan, which deals 1 damage, which is okay. What else could we possibly try to do? When powers generate fear, defend 1. Unfortunately, we will not have another moon. Or no, here's the... Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, we will have this moon. We won't have moons for this power, we will for this power, so that generates 1 fear, this generates 1 fear, so that's defend 2. Meanwhile, we can't play 3 cards this turn because we don't have enough energy. Could try to get another power to try to find something that... Oh, I guess we're never going to get 3 plants, but... I guess... we could combo Dread Apparitions with Mysterious Abductions. Which would be interesting. That would generate 1... Well, it would provide 1 defend, pretty much. So comboing this with Dread Apparitions and the Innate would be defend 3 in a land. We would still need a little more for like B3 or C6. Well, let's gain powers and then someday call a Midnight Stream to... Yeah, call a Midnight Stream to forget another power. So let's see. Guardian Serpents provides a moon and an animal. I mean, I could theoretically not use Trees and Stones this turn. While 5 fear would be a lot of fear, we do know the fear card removes an Explorer from land, matching a Ravage card, which is not helpful this turn, so we don't really need the 5 fear this turn. We could try to save it for the next Ravage or something. Guardian Serpents comboed with having a Sacred Site in a Sands would be enough defend. We could try to set it up with this. And then Dread Apparitions plus Guardian Serpents would give us 2 fear off of Night Terror, so that would be another defend 4. Or not defend 4, defend 3. Oh, there's an Explorer hiding out there, actually. This exclamation point is hiding that Explorer. In which case, defend 3 would not be enough. But the fear card would be enough. Awkward. Alright, so say we put defend 8 here. Say we defend this with Eyes' Innate. Which means that we're playing at least one of these moon cards. Playing this one, so yeah, we're playing another moon card somehow. It's not really even a difficult thing to consider. I feel like Guardian Serpents is definitely the pick there. Presence at range 1. This is range 0 though, so I can't actually put a presence in B3 to defend that. Yeah, so this innate is gonna be very tricky to actually use. I guess that just goes in C2 then, as that's the only other place it could go. In the meantime, if we're gonna do a Reclaim 1 down the road, we want to make sure we have presences in a lot of lands, but not many sacred sites. We want to like spread our presences out as much as we can. Also would like to be lands with invaders, I guess. Let's assume that Eyes can take care of their own land. Let's grow into... B6. So assuming that I'm playing these. So if I were to do this... The problem is that this defend 2 is not going to be good enough. We do have a Gather Dahan. After we add defend, gather a Dahan. The problem is that all those sands don't have a Dahan near them other than this one. Maybe we hope that the event card is helpful. I'm gonna guess that B3 is the best place to go because Guardian Serpents just defends enough regardless of actually getting the fear card. I'm just gonna go up towards the plant, I think. Let's save this for next turn. I don't know. Let's do this in response to the Ravage. Yeah, and that gets us, that saves fear for next turn. Okay, so let's see what happens here then. We do get a fear card reveal. And we are getting 4 fear, so we are going to get the Explorer removal. I don't see how this fear card knowledge would help us this turn. So let's just do this first to double check that we do have enough. Oh, I don't even have a sacred site to this land. Awkward. We could take one Dahan out. So that stops both Dahan from dying. So the only blighted land is then C6. Okay. Let's look at this fear card. On each board in a land matching a Ravage card, 1 damage. Okay. Missionaries arrive. They teach and spread lessons of a foreign god. You may ignore their contact with the Dahan or curse the tongues of the foreigners. Aided by sun. Their next normal Ravage cities do +3 damage, would actually blight C2. Which would be bad. But we get 4 fear. Add disease in land with city. There are still cities. If we ignore their contact, for each board discard the top minor power for as sun, push an explorer from a land with Dahan, otherwise place Dahan with a town. After resolving this card, return it to the event deck under the top 2 cards. I mean, this Dahan was dying anyway, so converting that one wouldn't be a big deal. Otherwise, I wouldn't really want board B to lose a Dahan right now. have 1 sun. If I discard that, that's 3. We would need 5 more, and we only have 4 energy around. So the only way to fund that would be to forget either guardian serpents or trees and stones, which I would kind of prefer not to do right now, considering it also makes C2 Blight. So I guess we're going to ignore contact and hope to find sun tarts. Well, that had no elements on it. Rude. Well, let's convert this guy, as we could just gather that town into B6. And then this guy was dead anyway. Beasts destroy explorers. Remove an explorer from the land matching a ravage card. Conversion. 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 Alright. And then we have choices. Did you already gather? You already gathered. Okay. It was off script. Gather that guy. And then gather that guy and that guy. So I forgot that we wanted to kind of try to have more blight on the board. So probably would have been a good turn to allow for blight. This board has 1 blight, this board has 2 blight, and that means that we're doing this twice. So add a town to a land without towns or blight. Just throw it there, there, there. I don't know. There. Didn't really think too hard about that. But considering that they're going to do it twice over, it's not really that preventable. Okay, so ravage, 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 build, 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 build. And we have 2 fear and push up the 2 explorers or towns. We could solve the C8 ravage. Kind of want to just let it go off though, as that puts 3 blight on that board, which will mean 1 fewer escalation. So if we let that blight go off, if I could let both of those go off, that'd actually be a lot nicer. But I did put my presence in B6, which was foolish. But a destroyed presence is not a bad thing to have anyway. So we could use this to try to avoid cities in bad places. Or, like, double towns. So, like, for instance, let's just get rid of these things. We're already 1 fear away from a land matching ravage card, 1 damage. In a land on each board, so just 1 land gets 1 damage. We do have trees and stones again. Is this the turn to reclaim 1 and Dread Apparition somewhere? Or not Dread Apparition, Streams of the Dahan? Nope. Call third time's the charm. Call it Midnight Stream in C2 this time. We would like a moon plant card, I guess. If we can defend C5, that would be a bit nicer. Save that to Han. So we want this to blight, but we'd like to defend that, which is very easy. I mean, we could just defend it with defend 2, which means if we just take the plant, then we have it. So I don't really need that as much. These ravages, I want that one to go off. Not sure if I'm gonna save the Dahan in that one though. And then of course the builds. So let's take Calm and Night Streams and make a sacred site somewhere, I guess. There? get to plant here. Moon plant? No plants. Moon air exists on 2 different cards. 1 fear, defend 3. If beasts are present, +2 fear. Also, Cramponic Mist is defend. Twilight Fog pushes a Dahan. But we could defend C5 with Haunted by Primal Memories. Could even defend B1. That gathers a Dahan, kills the Explorer. So it doesn't double blight, but it would. I guess we could defend B5 to gather this Dahan, even though this isn't ravaging. But if we let that blight in this blight, then we do have the 3 blight on the board. We don't blight the island, but then we get a Dahan in B5, which kills an Explorer. Also generates 3 fear because there's beasts in that land. So let's say I click that one. And we have Sacred Site range there already. So be in more jungles, I guess, for the 1 card that cares about it. There's also Mysterious Abductions. I guess I could grow into C6 and kill that Explorer. It won't stop the build, but it'll mean it's... I mean, I guess if they do build as a town and then they gather a town. But if they don't build, then they just gather a town, so it's a lot easier to defend that. So let's put you there. And then C. So the major power is a point of no return, but we will possibly lose the moon and animal, which means that this fear is gone. So let's take that fear first. There is a possible way that we get the threshold on that. So let's call him a nice stream here. Gain a major. Moon animal. Do you get another animal? You get an any. Also, this is moon animal on it. Tigers hunting, 2 fear, add beasts, gather beasts, 1 damage per beasts, push up the 2 beasts, blah, 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 blah. Destroy all explorers, except we don't. Add wilds, 1 damage. After the next invader phase on any turn with no ravage or build actions in target land, 3 fear, 12 damage, add a beasts. You may push that beast's 1 fear, 2 damage in its land. If you have 2 moon, 3 earth, 3 animal, mark it. Marked beasts can't leave the island. Each slow phase, you may push a marked beast's 1 fear and 2 damage at marked beasts. Tiger hunting is pretty nice, but if you're planning on the Habsburg threshold, it will have targeting issues. This is literally the 1 spirit. Why can't I think of the name? It's literally that 1 spirit. The 1 spirit whose name I can't remember. Sharp Fangs. It's literally Sharp Fangs, the card. So we have Replace, which will work. We have Destroy all explorers, which won't work. Add wilds, and then damage, which doesn't really work. We have Marked Beasts. I mean, the thing is, this is such a slow effect. I mean, we're not going to have the threshold on this, number 1. Number 2, the effect here is, like, beyond slow. It's not slow face slow, it's way down the road. Tiger's hunting does add and push beasts around. It does require me to be in a jungle. I am notably not in a jungle right now. I could do a weird thing and forget Call in Midnight Streams and then not play Tiger's Hunting and save it for next turn. Interesting. Also, Unearth the Beast does also have Moon and Animal. None of these have Air, but Air is kind of the least important one. None of these give Sun, Earth, Plant for that effect, but that wasn't really a big consideration. I don't know. I do not know. Your favorite use of Wrathful Stone was one game where shifting memories, unearthing a new marked beast every turn takes a bit to get rolling, but the net damage output grows fast. Yeah, I mean, if you can play this every turn, you get a cascading effect of marked beasts dealing damage. But this is also Bringer, so it's fake damage, which, I mean, it does generate its own fear, but none of these also gather push Dahan, by the way. Pretty sure it's not going to be Strangling Firevine, although I am in a Sands. But since it's literally just add 2 wilds and then damage per wilds, that's fake. Doesn't seem the greatest. Tiger's Hunting I can't use this turn. Savage Transformation seems awkward. I guess it's just gonna be stonks if I take Savage Transformation to just fill the island with beasts and hope that we get event cards that care about beasts. I feel like Tiger's Hunting, though, if I do take it and not play it this turn, I don't have to reclaim next turn. And then maybe I could find a use for it. I don't know. Seems awkward. I have millions of energy. I also have trees and stones, by the way. Alright, what was I doing? I have all these things and I forgot what I was doing. That Ravage has to happen. That Ravage has to happen. We're gonna grant a defend in B5. This way, yes. So then we're allowing that Ravage to happen. Mysterious Abductions was to kill the Explorer in C6, right? Okay. And then Defend 2 wants to go there. Don't think I need to gather that. Do have 1 damage on a land matching a Ravage card. Not that that does anything. Gathering 1 Dahan isn't going to kill that town. I want to save Dahan there for next turn. So let's just keep it. And then trees and stones. So 2 Dahan in there. Each Dahan deals 1 damage. So we could do 4 damage in C2, 2 damage in B5, 2 damage in B3. We could also try to use it for its defend effect, but that seems silly. I mean, Eyes Watch is gonna reclaim next turn, which gives Boon of Watchful Guarding, which we could use in B5 again. They are currently gonna build 2 towns and then gather a town, so that's 2, 4, 5. That's 11 damage in there right now. Defend 8 won't be enough by itself. But if I were to use Trees and Stones in there right now to push a town out, then Defend 8 would be enough next turn. C2 is going to build a city and is going to gather a town, which will be another cool place for... Honestly, just reclaim Trees and Stones and use it there next turn, right? That's the plan for C2. C6 is just going to have a town, and that's easily defended with an 8. And then I don't know about this land yet. But I think I just do this to push that town out. Okay. New species spread. New plants and animals brought by the invaders damage the local ecology. May let the invasive species bloom or transmute the worst of the species. Stonks? On half the boards, add disease to land with the Dana invaders. Do 2 damage to Han there. Offerings of pattern and dance. Each spirit with at least 2 to Han among all its lands gains 1 energy. We have 3 moon. We have millions of energy. I don't think there's any reason to not transmute here. Because we're also gaining energy there. So might as well transmute the worst. Just spend like all the energy here. Because we have 2 major powers that are dirt cheap. Add beasts to a land with buildings. We have tigers hunting. Throw it there. Throw it there. Half the board's routing up disease to land with Dahan invaders. Damage to Dahan there. Kind of don't like losing Dahan. I could stop the city here, but honestly, getting 5 fear by damaging the city sounds cool. Do it here. And then energy. Did that stop you from gaining energy, though? Was that rude? I stopped Trees and Stones from getting energy by doing that? Should I do it in B8? Put a disease there? Nah, let's not worry about the energy. Alright, first fear card on each board in a land matching a Ravage card, 1 damage. And we also have an unknown fear card after that. And all I can really say is kill explorers. Each player adds strife in a land with or adjacent to beasts. Could stop that blight, but we actually want it. Otherwise, they add extra towns. Could strife both explorers here, but there will still be a town that gathers. We could strife the towns. And that makes that land easier to defend. I guess what's the order they're going to gather in? C2... C6. So then, or no, sorry, it's going B3 first. Let goes board that land order. So B3 first. And then B5. Don't think there's a reason to strife this town considering defend 8 is going to be enough there after what we said. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, yes. And then strafing here is not going to matter because we'll have defend 8 with trees and stones. Even after they gather the town. City, 2 towns, explorers, 8. I think I'm just going to strafe this town and this town. Blight, Blight, Blight. Alright, and then let's gather the Strife town, gather the inland town. Not the Strife town. If I do click the Strife town here, then I don't need to defend C6, and I can instead focus my efforts on defending B3. I think that's okay. Explore mountains. And then we still have to do this once because both boards have just 3 blight. So let's not add it to the mountains if possible. This decision is forced though. Okay. So this is reclaim 1, but this is reclaim all. And you are sitting at 5 energy. That could be a major. Ditching area noises would probably be okay. Let's take a look at major. Sleep and never waken. Rapid wings. Hold on. Does rapid wings trigger this? After an action moves Dahan. Each Dahan deals damage. Inspire the release of stolen lands. Gather up to 3 Dahan. Remove up to 3 health worth of invaders per Dahan. If you have 3 sun, 3 water, 2 animal, this power can target lands with blight. If Dahan are present, remove 1 blight from target land. Then remove 1 explorer, 1 town, and 1 city from a land within range 1. That's a lot of words. Alright, so this is the only one that has plant on it. This has moon and air. These 2 just have air. You have no sun. We don't have the innate moon yet. But we could sometimes hit that threshold. No sun and then no sun. But Rapid Wings sounds hot. I think there was a lot of Dahan conversions on board B because there's only 4 Dahan there now. And then like board C has 5 Dahan. So awkward. Remove though is really strong as that bypasses the scenario, right? It does not destroy, it just removes. So remove 3 health worth of invaders per Dahan. So if I gather 3 Dahan and then remove 9 health per Dahan, or maybe more because there could be Dahan that was in the original land. Remove 9 health of invaders, but then we also deal 3 damage because we gathered 3 Dahan. So that's interesting. The problem, of course, is that removal doesn't add fear, but at the same time... it does remove a lot of things. Rapid Wings, though. Problem with Rapid Wings is not really useful this turn, but we could use it after this turn by moving everything from C2 into a mountain. Sleep and Never Awaken could generate 4 fear, but removing Explorers is kind of lame. Leaning towards Rapid Wings. But it's not helpful this turn, but at the same time, this turn's not a problem turn, really. So let's just take Rapid Wings. Lose Eerie Noises. This is reclaiming Trees and Stones. And I make a super stack somewhere. Because I lost my singleton elsewhere. Oh. But now my Tiger's Hunting doesn't work. Tiger's Hunting generates 1 fear if I play it. Also lets me look at a fear card. I could also not play it and gain a power card next turn. Put my presence in the jungle and then use Tiger's Hunting. So this just needs defend 2. That needs the big defend, or one of those needs the big defend. So Trees and Stones here, big defend here, small defend here, that's already solved. Can I stop any of those builds? Range 0, 1 damage, don't have range. Do not build in target land. None of those have Dahan. 1 fear, defend 3. We could use to gather a Dahan to kill the Explorer. Range 1 jungle, gather 3 Dahan. Guess we could use that in C3. I can play more power cards. I'm not going to play more power cards. Okay, now we have the condition where no lands buildings outnumber Dahan, which is kind of tricky when we have a lot of buildings and we're not really reducing the numbers that well. We need to get more Dahan on the board. That does not add more Dahan. Okay. On each board, in a land with exactly 1 Dahan that has or is adjacent to a city, replace that Dahan with a town. That replaces C5. Good job. Oh, it also replaces that guy. Ah! That's really bad. Alright. Beast attack. Each beast deals 2 damage. Remove any token, destroys buildings. Reckless offensive on each board. Choose a land with at least 2 Dahan, at least 2 buildings. Each Dahan destroys a building. Add a blight. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is not the turn for this. I can at least destroy the town that they just added there, which removes the beasts. And then Dawn Insurrection goes off. This land is the safest. And then we could kill 2 towns by doing the 1 damage like that twice. Removes only 1 beasts. I mean, screw it. Get rid of all the beasts. And it adds an explorer there. And that beast kill dies. So that land is now even worse. But each beast... Okay, this land is okay though, right? Because... Oh, it's also this land. Oh, it's both of the lands. Why? Each Dahan destroys building. Why am I given a choice here? Oh, and Blighted Island, whatever. Aid from Lesser Spirits. Immediately draw 1 minor power card for player plus 1. Give more to... I can't read. Draw 1 minor power card per player plus 1 more. That's like a tongue twister for some reason. Give 1 to each spirit. They may be used every turn as if played, but cost no card place or energy. Place the unselected card in the minor power card pile. That's cool, except now there's only 4 blight left on the card. Prowling Panthers? Now that we got rid of all the beasts on the island, should we probably panthers and tigers hunting shenanigans? Consistent blight removal and uncanny melting might be the pick for someone here. You may gather Dahan. Only targets the land with Dahan, though. I kind of want to take both of the slow powers just so that they're immediately used. Crawling Panthers gives Bringer a moon and an animal, which makes this effect easier to hit. I mean, if I reclaim trees and stones again, then we in fact hit this. And we have an 8 moon. Yeah, so then we will hit the 3 moons. So target spirit gains an element they have at least one of. Which could help Eyes Watch. To, for instance, gather 3 Dahan first, but... This guy wants moons, plants. Which ones do you want more of, though? There's another plant on the card plays track. You just need 3 plants. All of your, well, most of your cards add plant. I think we've picked a lot of cards that don't give plant though, which is weird. You could use this to stop ravages, but I feel like constant blight removal is going to be good. There's a lot of blighted sands, especially because this is going to blight too. Blighted wetlands. I mean, do you have to be mindful of the fact that the escalation, we want to have less blight, or more blight on the board. But let's just take this. Nope, not that guy. Prowling Panthers on Bringer and then Uncanny Melting. This does give you a moon, which is okay. You do have another moon coming up, but that's okay. It's okay. It's fine. And then, yeah, that goes off again, but on this board now. Alright. Each player may gather and explore a town into a coastal land, defend 2 in all coastal lands. I mean, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I mean, I might as well gather this town out. It will regather it, but at least it won't gather another town, right? And there's a lot of Dahan here. Might as well gather that town. Each player moves and explore a town from a land with presence. Okay. So none of us are in mountains, so we can't do anything there. This is remove, which bypasses things like the scenario. So I could remove this town. I think I'm just gonna remove this town, even though it's like not doing anything, but just like lower the counts of buildings, right? I don't know how we win at this point. There's just too many buildings. We're not like losing right away, but there's just too many buildings. Alright, the escalation is only on this board. And of course, only the jungles are eligible for this. Nope, never mind. It's happening on both boards. Yeah, because, okay, so we were at 4, but we need 5, because it's 4 fewer, so we needed 5. Annoying. Okay. Gather up to 3 to hunt, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work there. Guess I don't have range there. 1 fear, add beasts, or if target land has beasts, destroy things. I can reclaim trees and stones to hit that threshold. The problem is I'm still not in a jungle if I do that, which means that I can't actually do that. Yikes. I mean, there's not many Dahan even in the mountains, so this one's not going to be helpful next turn anyway. So we can use next turn to gain a power card. Even though I have 1,000,000 energy, I probably need to get a volume of cards going. Let's put this here and try to use Tyrus Hunting there somehow next turn to do something great. I don't know what the great is, but we can try. Sands, wetlands, blight removal, and fear. And then this. Alright, so let's gain that power card, get into a jungle, make it minor, defend 4. I mean, an air card does give me another fear, but I could also target myself with this if I want. What are you doing here? 2 presents to play 3 cards? I can dig that. Okay, let's try to get range into board B. I'm placing the wrong presence. I am bad at this game. Okay. So say I play that one. Don't think that's going to be helpful this turn. If I play these, what happens? My defense sucks. I can get another plant off of Bringer. That would just be defend 4. Mysterious Abductions, range 0, 1 damage. I guess I could have put my presence somewhere to make that effective. Haunted by Primal Memories is a defend, which would gather a Dahan. We could target that with B7. Generates 3 fear. Rapid Wings. We do not have the threshold on. Missing an animal. Let's say I click this one for now. And I also have an any. I need to be in a jungle. Let's just go in that one. Not now. I could click air. And then I get all my thresholds except this one. I could target myself with the thing and also get this threshold. Do I want to first gather 3 Dahan? I can use Rapid Wings and B5. C3, we can just defend. Defend 2 would even be enough, right? So if I defend there, and then I have Rapid Wings on one of these mountains, defend 5, we would be moving 2 to Han. Defend 3 in this, we could gather that to Han. That deals only 1 damage, but... So about Mysterious Abductions, then? Your presence was a range 1 presence, so I can't move Bringer's presence, but I could move your presence. So let's say I do... Can't reach that. But if I destroy that guy, doesn't stop the build, but only gathers 1 town. Still have these builds. I guess I'm in this land already, so I could have just killed that guy. Let's just see what I'm at. So... Defend. Then we have Tiger's Hunting here. It's fake damage, but it does quote-unquote kill a town. Push up the 2 beasts. I can't add my presence on a reclaimed turn. I won't be in range of that one. Now let's just spread it out. So that's still 3 damage. He's here. Defend 2. We wanted there. Don't need to gather. Oh, was I? Oh, hold on. I haven't done the any, and I haven't done the gain an element one. Let's hold on. This is spirit phase. Okay, so if I gain an air, I don't think I need to gather the 3. So let's target myself with this so that I can gain a animal. You have this fear card. Choose a different land and each gather up to 2 Dahan, 1 damage if Dahan are present. Okay. That's nifty. So now we can do this. But also this. Hold on. I just had a thought. I just had a thought. If I do this, gather this Dahan, damage the town, and then I do Tiger's Hunting, that damaged town sort of dies. Alright, but now we have 1 damage in an adjacent land without blight and plus 1 damage per beasts there. Well, I wanted to do that damage in B8. It doesn't even matter if there's beasts in there, though. Let's just throw it there. Yes, I know that's blighted, but we can cure the blight. Okay, so there's still 2 damage I have to deal with there. Fear somewhere. Damage. Oh. I can't Rapid Wings that well anymore because I am not in the land with Dahan. That's why I wanted to be in B5. So this was defend. I could use my innate to make a defend happen, but it's annoying that this is also still 1 damage off. Well, I guess we do have that fear card that is going to save us there. Because we could do damage in this land, and that's enough. So that's defended. So B2 and C7. But I still have that annoying problem. I don't have Dahan in any of my lands. Maybe the defend in C3 is unnecessary, because maybe there's a chance the fear card saves us. I could just click this land, 1 damage if Dahan are present. I could gather Dahan, and then 1 damage to Dahan are present. That gather Dahan deals damage, and maybe that deals enough. Maybe. So instead, let's use this effect to put a Dahan in one of my lands. And then Rapid Wings to put that Dahan somewhere else. Feels like B2 is going to be the better place. So let's gather. Actually, I don't really want to gather that guy, right? I want to. There's no invaders there. Let's gather that guy and then Rapid Wings. Click a button to choose which triggered action should occur first. Oh. Because I granted defend, so I also get to gather a Dahan. Well, the annoying thing is there's no Dahan. Okay, so that's enough damage there. Let's damage the city so it dies in the Ravage. And then we have defend 4. Can I hit this? No. Push up to 1 blade. None of those are bladed. This is 2 damage, that's 3 damage. Maybe I just defend this with this. Okay. Missionaries is back. We knew it was coming, by the way, so I'm kind of dumb. We could spend the energy for this now. Cities do plus damage. Only land that's relevant is B2. If I knew that was coming up, which I think theoretically I knew it was coming, so I could even undo, right? But presumably all the fear we're having should help with this, right? We could combo Dahan movement to try to deal with that, like gather 2 Dahan into B1, gather 2 Dahan into B2, and I think that would save that, so curse the tongues. Bringer just has way too much energy and we're not spending it, so just spend all of it. Disease is forced into B2. Beasts destroy explorers. Add a beast to a board without one. Which is board C. Cool. Bear in mind that tigers hunting exists. They're building jungles. I'll just move it here. Each player chooses a different land and each gather two Dahan, 1 damage to Dahan represent. Dahan and Heartened. Okay, so if we do this and gather these two. And gather these two. Okay, so Terra level 3, victory condition, fewer than 1 land per player where buildings outnumber Dahan. Panic. Each player adds strife to invader. For the rest of the turn, invaders have -1 health per strife to a minimum of 1. Well, look at this. I can strife that guy. I can strife that guy. And they both die. Each player moves up to 5 health of invaders from a land with disease or an explorer town from an inland land. Okay. 7/1. What does that even mean? Oh. Fewer than 1 land per player. Okay, so there 2 players means there can only be 1 land. So I have 6 lands where buildings outnumber Dahan. Okay, this is blighting. There's still 1 more fear card. That's blighting. Could stop that blight by removing both towns. And probably the next fear card saves B7, right? So let's just remove these towns, which makes progress on this. On each board, choose a land with beasts, strife, or Dahan. Remove 1 invader there or skip the next build action there this turn. Okay. So I can remove a town. So now that's defended and the Dahan kills the town and that lowers the count. I think we can skip this build. There's no neighboring town, so they won't gather anyway. It won't put a city down. It'll make it easier to deal with. I think we also, well, there's a town there. Well, that's not, that town's dying, right? And then this, okay, so I think this land's not gonna have anything. I'm gonna have to gather a town to B4, but if I gather B3, then there's not gonna be a neighboring town to C4. So let's skip this build. Kill that town. Okay, so gather that town. That town's forced. Coastal Explorer. No escalation here. Starting to feel like there's a path to victory now. That's the good news. Next is stage 3, so there's no more escalations. So let's see. I could destroy that town. That destroyed town is then gonna put an explorer in C2, but that doesn't matter. But that will lower this count. Question is, can I, like, remove the 4 lands? 2 ways to do that. One is to remove buildings. One is to add Dahan to those lands. I don't see why I wouldn't do this. Obviously, we could try to set this up for tigers hunting next turn, but... Oh, right, I don't actually destroy it. Son of a bitch. But that still works. Buildings don't outnumber Dahan. They are equal. Invaders are present. Blight removal. So do that to get both, right? Okay. So we just have to deal with 3 more lands, which... Those are the 4. Add a beasts, gather beasts. We don't have range to be 8 with that one, though. This has Blight. We could do it in B5. Okay, we could do it in B5 and remove the guy there. All we need to do is, like, put 1 Dahan in the land, and then it's no longer outnumbered. And we have a guy that gathers Dahan by putting defend in lands. So we just want to defend in as many lands as possible, right? So this is just reclaim on this guy. I'm just gonna click minor. Probably doesn't really matter. Let's just click that one. Reclaim here, minor. Land of Haunts and Embers would be a way to push guys. Adds Blight, but whatever. So Tiger's Hunting, it doesn't get rid of the town is the thing, but we could put that town somewhere else. Gather 2 Dahan would be a way to outnumber things. Push is a way to outnumber things. Let's do that. This is a way, if I can get Dahan in one of my lands. Repeat Land of Haunts and Embers. This one. Oh, that wasn't even the one I wanted to click on, but... I'm just gonna start there and see what happens. Tiger's Hunting here. Put that town there. I don't really care about the threshold. So if I can get 2 Dahan in this land, that counts. And then Haunts and Embers, just push this town out. So just defend there. Defend there. Yay! There's fewer than 1 land per player where buildings outnumber Dahan. Surrounded and losing hope, the invaders flee the island under cover of darkness. Alright, 70 points. 10 for victory, 50 for difficulty 10, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 3 for the 7 remaining Dahan, minus 3 for the 7 Blight. Kind of impressive to win that scenario by removing almost half the Dahan from the island, but nonetheless, that worked well. Also had a spirit that can't actually destroy buildings by themselves, but hey. So, that was fun. Dahan Insurrection is probably one of my favorite scenarios. I feel like it's not really difficulty 4. I guess that number is more to do with the fact that you really have to change the way you approach the game. Whereas normally you could just spam fear and eventually win at tier level victory. Or even, like, you know, eliminate all the cities and eventually win on tier level 3 or whatever. This really forces you to have to play around with the pieces on the board. And obviously, like, you know, scenarios harder with lots of buildings, easier for spirits with Dahan movement, which both of our spirits are really good with Dahan movement, which allows us to set up the win. But if we are missing that, then obviously it's harder to get the Dahan in the right places. But still, we only had 7 Dahan left on the board, so my Dahan were all very strategically placed to make that win happen, I guess. Also funny that we had the Dahan Paratroopers card, and yet didn't really have many Dahan to play around with it, but them's the breaks, I guess. But yeah, good game. Only been an hour and a half in the stream, but I kind of like having one main game. So let's call it there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay. We are here every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And for those who are non-American and are confused as to why the stream is happening an hour earlier, right? No, later. Yeah, it's not 8:30. Oh, it would have been 8:30. Yeah, the reason it's happening an hour later than normal is because daylight savings just ended in the U.S. U.S. is kind of weird with where daylight savings starts and ends. It's like later than other countries for no reason. Stupid thing. Needs to be gotten rid of. People keep saying we need to get rid of it, and then nothing ever happens. But, you know, it's the U.S. Nothing ever happens, period, other than bad things. Anyway, yeah, we're here every Monday at 6 p.m., and I'll be focusing on Spirit Island, and if you missed it last week or at the start of the stream today, I'm going to be going through every scenario in Spirit Island in alphabetical order, which means that the next one on the list is Despicable Theft, which I think I have played exactly once. So you can look forward to that next time. Check out Handelabra Live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern to see John demo content before it is publicly available. John is one of the lead developers at Handelabra Games, and he likes to show off stuff. So, current things that are on the agenda: Nature Incarnate, obviously in active development, and it will be released piecemeal, and the first stage is set to release soon. Yeah, coming soon. It just says coming soon. Yeah. I don't think there's a set date for that yet. But yeah, phase 1 is coming out soon. That includes 2 aspects, all of the event and fear and power cards that come in Nature Incarnate, as well as 1 spirit. The Ember-Eyed Behemoth is the spirit, by the way. So you can look forward to that. Also, Aeon's End on phones has been announced and was demoed last week. So you can check that out on YouTube or on Twitch. I believe John is off this week, so you'll have to check him next week. But in any case, that's it. That's all I have. Have a good night, everyone.